candles. So what shape are we going to use to make a candle?
Cylinder.
A cylinder.
All right, so click on cylinder. I'll move the image plane. Don't move your object over to the image plane if you don't have to. The image plane. So we can actually make this to the image a little bit. All right. Assuming that your image plane is not centered. So let's go ahead and get the height. It looks like this is about 5 units high. So I'll go in here and go height 5. Difficult. This is my cool new hotkey. Turn on the X-ray view. So this candle is thicker at the top than it is at the bottom. I'm going to reduce the number of sides. Let's do divisions to 16. And then looks like the radius is a bit, maybe 3. It's going to be, yep, still too wide, a little bit. So let's change the radius to 0.9. Yeah, I thought that might be too much. 0.95. I think that'll be okay. So you don't have to go like too insane with this stuff. It doesn't have to be perfectly like that. I just wanted to throw that in there as an example. But it gives you, it's a good starting point for a lot of the stuff that we're going to do with this candle. I'm going to take these out. I'm doing both because, just because. You don't have to. You only need to do the top one. If I come in here and go multi and then I hold shift and I click on the vertex, it'll add that vertex there. I don't need these down here. Hold control and deselect those. And then I can pull this down and in or something. Let's do it this way. We pull out a little bit, but what I want to do is go to face. I'm going to hold tab, left click and drag the paint select, and then I'll extrude this. So hold shift and scale it. That way we get more of a little rim in there. And I can't really see what's going on with this rim up here. If I go to object mode and press 3, see it does that, and that's probably okay. Let's take these vertices here and we'll scale this in because it is wider at the top than it is at the bottom. I'm assuming it has to do with the way that it melts, right? It's spreading out at the top. If this were a pristine new candle, modern candle would be narrower at the top than it is at the bottom. I don't know about ancient candles, but modern candles. So we'll take and we'll add an edge loop in here near the top. Like this, go to object mode, press 3. And then we'll add one on the bottom too, because it needs to be sharp down there. We'll add one here. Press 3. There you go. And then we kind of have, looks like it's a candle that's been, melted some, right? So we have some of these weird like shapes that are forming. We can maybe make this a little bit crooked. Go to vertex. We'll want to rotate it. Scale back out. And then I'm going to take face here and I'll just like extrude this one up. So it made some weird spiky shapes. That's pretty cool. That happens sometimes, right? You can extrude those out. So it goes out at a cool angle like that. One over here. These two. No, we'll just do separate ones from these ones. Extrude those out. Okay. And then you can have that shape. And we take this vertex and you can pull it up, maybe, because sometimes the candle will do that, right? It'll pucker up there in the middle when it's burning. What we really want to do is we want to take this face here and we want to drop it down. This is how you get your candle to look like it's starting to melt. And like things are starting to run to the side. Right, we can take that face again. It's all distorted now. We want to make sure we're careful with it. Press F to zoom in on it. Rotate it over. Take this face here with that edge there, and kind of move that down. So you see, it's pretty straightforward as far as getting that to look like it's kind of collapsing that side there and melting down and running down into the. Okay. And we probably have something similar going on between here too. So we didn't plan for that, but that's probably what's happening. So I'm going to take this face here, here, and here, and we're going to extrude them out. And then I'll go to edge. Now let's grab both of these edges and kind of drag them down a little bit. And then I'll bring this in. I'll press 1, we can kind of see what's going on here. Get a better idea. So drag that down. So there's our wax spilling over the side, running down the side of the candle. Is anybody here like a big candle fan? Like, there's people who really love candles and they have bunches of them, like burning candles and stuff. Anybody like that?
Not like a huge one, but I just got a pretty sick wood fire one just recently.
Wood fire candle. What is that?
Well, yeah, it's the woodwicker one. Hold on. It's like shaped pretty weird. Oh my god, hold on.
Your image. Let's take your image.
I don't know how to get rid of the video.
If you go underneath your camera settings, it's choose virtual background. So there's like an arrow next to your camera.
Oh, none. Nice. Yeah, no, it's just like one of these long ones, but it's got I already burned it, so it's like really hard to see. But you light this whole thing and it burns like wood, or like it has the crackling sound. It's like really calming, actually.
Interesting. I've never seen anything like that before. Now I know. And what is knowing? Who can tell me what knowing is?
Half the battle.
Right. Good job. You guys remembered half the battle. So we can pull this, maybe this piece out up here instead of face. And that's not going to work, so we'll have to add in. If we want to pull out that other kind of drip that's hanging down there instead of face here, let's grab a couple of these faces and extrude them out. Right, and rotate them. Go to edge here, scale it. Push this down and in. And you can always, make this overlap more if you want to. I want that overlap more. And that's huge. By comparison to what I see in the image, it's pretty big. We'll just take this face and drag it in. I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to duplicate it. And then I'm going to take the faces around the bottom here. I don't need all of them, so these select the ones I don't need. And then I can extrude this here. Scale it. And then you can have some of that action, the melted action going in there. Now you're probably saying, well, these look like lumps and stuff, and you could add on a shape that looks like a lump. If you wanted to make this look more like a lump, though, you would have to probably model this in like thusly, and then put one over here as well. And then take this edge and then pull it up so you have kind of more lumpy type shape there. We'd want to do another one along the bottom, probably. Let's see, to get this to be flat, we'll take another edge over here and put it in here. There, now it looks like it's flat, like the wax will build up like that. You could also potentially extrude to get a rounded shape on the wax, like that. And then you can take like this edge here and push it down. And then you can take this vertex here, pull it up, and you have like lumpies for the wax. This over here, we'll put this edge back down. Put back down. And then we can take the faces in here. We'll take these faces right here. And I'm going to scale them up. Put a vertex. And we're going to grab all these here. All right, so there's kind of that one there. We can take the whole thing, I guess, at this point. This whole deal on here. Kind of push that down a little bit. And it's circular, roughly, it looks like in the image, so maybe kind of drag this stuff around so that it looks more circular. You kind of get into that area there. Now this right here, let's say this is unnecessary. So you want to delete that out and go to edges and bridge this. And that there. Oh, no, we got the hole. No. So we'll fill that in there, go to vertex. All right, no more freezing. I don't know why my computer's running really hard all of a sudden, but it's running really hard. So then we can save because I just froze. So I want to make sure that I save. I'm just going to increment and save, or just come in here and I'll change the number to a 2. Continue. And then this part over here, we want to make this into rounder. See those lumps down there from the wax. Holding shift and control, slide that. Let's go to vertex. And then I'll drag this over. Get that done. But you can see how it's not too terrible to make the candle itself. Not at such a big deal, right? It's pretty easy extrusions and it's kind of pushing points around. And then we have to make let's make this really cool wick right here. It's like super cool wick. It's like something out of a cartoon. Oh. Let's go to vertex here, and we'll do it with faces. That way, because I don't want to teach that right now. It's more complicated. You know, this is what I'm getting to. Moving tab, click and drag. There you go. Holding shift, we can click and drag in. And you take care of some of that. There were striations in here. You can see them still right here. You see these little striations? You can get rid of them, like you're making them smaller by adding in a control edge there. So the wick. What is the wick going to be made of? How are we going to make a wick?
A cylinder and then deform it.
Yeah, we could use a cylinder. We could curve a cylinder. We could also use a torus. This might be more work than just curving a cylinder. We'll try it though. Let's see. Am I making this thing upside down? No. Why is my object? Okay, I rotate it upside down as well. So we'll take the section radius to a 0.1, and then I will turn down the divisions on height. I don't need that many. We'll go with 12, maybe 10. 10 would probably be a little bit better. And then let's see how thick this is. Is it? That's the right thickness, I think. That's about right. And then we will change the radius to a 0.7. Is that going to work? No, maybe a 0.5. Yeah, that I think will work better. Yeah, I think that's going to work pretty well. And then we will do a 0.45. Okay, so it looks like 0.4. And then I'm going to take these faces. Go in here, delete them. Get these out of here too. Delete these. We don't need these ones. No. And then, well, we won't need these either. Get rid of them. Go to edge. Double click my edge. Press W, hold shift. Drag it down. We got our cool curving wick. It looks like it curves under even. So let's go ahead and get this. We'll do edges here. We'll just drag this over. Need this one here too. Drag it over. rotate this. You get a cool curving wick. We gotta seal off that end. The one thing about the wick that I've noticed is it's thinner where the fire is. Thanks. Look at my edge here. Oh, sorry, I'm going to hold shift and drag that in. Hold shift and drag it in again, and then I'm going to hold shift right click, merge, collapse edge, and merge to the center. Actually, I didn't want to do it that way. I want to delete this edge out. So it goes into a low point. Go to this edge right here, rotate it. Danielle, are you yawning in my class?
No.
Am I that boring? Really? I'm that boring? Oh my gosh, you guys.
You didn't yawn after I yawned, so that means you're a sociopath.
That's true. That's true. Right. Yeah, that's weird that you know what I think it is? I like broke myself of the habit of yawning when I do sometimes when other people yawn, but I don't usually because I have really bad sinuses and it messes with my ears when I yawn. So I try not to yawn if I can help it. And I've taken psychopathy tests and I fail them every single time. So I'm not a sociopath or a psychopath, sorry. I've done that already. Let's see. So it does get thinner where the fire is, like I said, and then you have that. And we could always just go vertex and select all these and kind of scale them a little bit, and then kind of readjust them if we wanted them to be different than what they are. Exactly. Yeah. So does everybody know what Danielle's talking about when she says that if you don't yawn after seeing somebody else yawn, then you're a sociopath? It's sociopath. Yeah.
I heard of that, but then since you mentioned yawning, then I just had to yawn.
Yeah. So anybody else? Everybody else is like very confused. If you're very confused, let me know.
I've heard like 3 different theories. I don't know what's true.
Has
Well-
to do with like empathy or something like that. Empathetic response.
Yep, that's with empathy. Yeah, very good. So what the theory is, if you yawn after you see somebody else yawning, which most people do, right? That is an empathetic response. So your brain just automatically kicks in and says, "Oh, that person yawned. You should yawn too." And since if you don't yawn after another person yawns, it's an indication that you're a sociopath. So get that lined up in there. Pretty cool. A little curly wick. And then we want to make the flame. I'm gonna increment and save. Continue. Put a 3 right here. See, so it worked perfectly. So the flame, how are we gonna make this flame? That's kind of a weird shape. Any ideas?
Content browser.
Content browser and just toss a flame right there. Yep, that's one possibility. You could do that. And if you do that for your final, that would be awesome. But for the model,
Can we use a sphere?
yeah, a sphere would most likely be the best option. Another thing you can do is you can use a sphere with 8 poles instead of 2 poles. So when we deal with our spheres here, we have this 2-pole sphere, and it's garbage really. This sphere has this pole right here and a pole down here. So we're dealing with these organic shapes. These poles are not fun. These are not our friend. So you have these 20 edges going into one point. That's not going to work. So let me show you how to make an 8-pole sphere. Everybody ready for this? It's magic time. Got the hands ready? A little bit of a misdirection coming your way. So I'm going to make a cube because that's very sphere-like, right? Exactly the same thing. We can make it bigger if we want to because it is going to have to be bigger again, I think. But what I'll do now is I'll press 3. And then I'll go up to Modify, Convert, Smooth Mesh Preview to Polygon. And there you go. I have a pole here, 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 and here. 8 poles. But they're not nearly like as crazy as 20. You have 3 edges coming in instead of 4. That makes them a pole. but that's better than having 20 edges coming in, because there's going to be a lot of distortion. You know, if I start pulling this up, you'll see it's like, oh yeah, that pulled the problem. So we'll move this over here, and I'll just kind of scale this down a little bit, kind of get it to line up here. And then I will take, with this, it's going to actually be best to use a sculpting tool. And I did not plan this ahead. So, hey, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Go to sculpting and use your grab brush. And I have it set to twist, so let's reset it here. Turn off the twist. And it's back over here. And then I will pull this up. You have that shape there pretty easily developed. We can turn off our X-ray here so you can kind of see. See, there you go. It's pretty close. I'm going to hold B and turn down my sculpting brush, and I'm going to grab this and pull it over there. Turn back on my X-ray. The flame, you could kind of get it to be closer. It's not that big of a deal if you don't. But I do want it to be, I do want to have this silhouette up here, the taper up here on this part. You're probably thinking, like, this is like super distorted. You don't want us to use like super distorted shapes. Don't worry. We can come into both of these and we can look at one while we're adjusting the other. That's why. Okay, so then we'll want to, we probably should have smoothed it first, but we'll smooth it now. So go to Mesh, Smooth. Smoothie is not something that I use a lot unless I'm going to ZBrush, like I said, but in this case, it's kind of the way to go. But that brush, it's still not going to be ideal because we have all these stretched out polygons. So we didn't work clean on this. We kind of sculpted it. There's your shape. Not ideal because we sculpted it. And Maya's not for sculpting. So let's, I'm gonna duplicate it, or I'll just move it over here. I'm just gonna create a sphere again. So to do that, we'll go into apply modeling and make a cube. Bring it up. I'll only do 1.5 this time. I'm gonna model this instead of sculpting it. And then I'll do the modify, convert. Oh, I gotta turn on smooth mesh preview first. There you go, modify, convert, and then do a smooth mesh preview to polygon. And there we go. And then we'll move it down here. And that's good. I'm gonna take my face, my faces here, and I'm gonna grab these across here and just move them up. And move them over a little bit, kind of. Grab these up here. Move them up. Scale them down. And then scale this into a point, basically. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna put up the the instructions or the demo of how to sculpt or how to model the dagger tonight. So if you wanted to turn that in, make sure you turn it in right after class or something, or if you work on it, turn it in before I upload the demo on how to do that, because once I upload that, I won't let you resubmit it. Okay. I don't know if anybody was planning on resubmitting the dagger, but if you were, do it tonight. So it's going to go up. I'm going to put that demo. And then so that's how I would pull it out. Then you get these more even divisions, straighter divisions that are going to be easier to work with. And then you can always smooth this. So mesh smooth. Sorry, not mesh. And we can go to vertex here. Just scale that up. So now that you know a lot about modeling, all of you would do a much better job on the dagger, right? You're all like, the dagger is not that difficult of a thing.
Yeah, definitely.
There's our flame, and I'm not liking it that much. I'm gonna make it thinner. So I'm just gonna use my artistic license on this here. Get it to be thin. All right, candle done. So let's go ahead and delete this here. I'll save some of this. Increment save. Continue. And now I have this other candle over here that I duplicated out thinking that, hey, I might be able to use this one here. And that'll be a part where I can just kind of grab this thing, manipulate it, and make it into another candle. So we don't want to have the exact same distortion here on the wax that we had in that other one. So we're going to make sure these are like in a position. And then what we're going to do is we'll take this one here, take this face, and delete that. And then we'll take this face. We could extrude this one actually. And then delete the face right here. Delete that. And take the edge and line it up out here. And then go to vertex and start snapping our vertices. So we'll grab the target weld tool and snap that over. And then snap that over. And then snap together. Oop. Edge, and push this in. Edge and pull this out. And that way we have like this longer kind of drip that almost made it. It almost got all the way down to the bottom there. Almost did it. I'm gonna take this face out here. No one. So you can see how we can kind of just manipulate this into a different shape. We'll bridge this, bridge, and this here. And we'll take this face, push it down. Push this one down here. Pull that up. So then we would want to, you want to rotate your candle, right? You don't want to have it at the exact same angle as the other one. And then we'll take the, take this right here, and we'll extrude this out. Don't lower it down like that. But and then put on your edge loop here. Make sure it's flat against the ground. We'll put another one up there, up here. Kind of control this. We'll go down here. There we go. Can control that. So this is, to me, this is kind of like relaxing, making candles. I don't know why. Oh yeah, I can just kind of like move this over here because I guess they're so non-specific that whatever I do, I'm like, it's okay. Just move this over here, move that over there. It's fine. It's a candle. It's fine. Everything's fine. It'll be fine. Get your face here. Extrude that up. Scale it in. A little bump there. The wax kind of built up. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go to vertex. Stop it. Go to vertex. doing a lot of work in 3D. And so my hand is getting tired. So I think Lane, I think you're the oldest person in the room next to me. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that that's the case.
I mean,
What's that?
yeah, probably. But yeah.
Yeah, probably. So you can attest then, like your hands, things on your body, they just get tired when you're doing stuff repetitively. You're like, how come my stuff is tired now?
Yes, like every day.
Yeah.
And I threw my back out recently and I'm like, oh God, I'm old. But then again, like I've been throwing out my back since like my early 20s for whatever reason. And the first time it happened, I was like 20, 21. And I was like, oh no, I'm old. I'm like, no, wait.
And
But it's
21.
just how it happens regularly. And I have no idea why. It just likes to hate me.
You probably have some muscle weakness in there that needs to be, you need to strengthen your muscles or somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably. I have a ruptured disc in my spine, so that's fun.
Fun.
Yeah. Go to vertex. I'm gonna blunt this a little bit because it's too spiky. But yeah, you get the idea. And maybe this is too sharp. You're like, that's way too sharp. We don't want that. So the reason it's too sharp is because, see how this is very sharp, but the reason it's too sharp, it looks too sharp here, is because it's not overhanging like it does in the photo. So in the photo, it looks like it's overhanging, and that's why it's not looking right here. You know, it's like sharp on the bottom in the photo because it's sitting on a sharp surface, it's sitting on a flat surface. You don't have to use this candle for reference. I just put this up there so you had some reference. It's fine. You can use a different candle. Use as many candles as you want to. Use as much reference as you want to. You feel like you need to. As generally is the professional artist in the room, she knows that reference is an important aspect of creating new artwork. Is that true? Or am I just making stuff up?
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Yeah, very, very true. So in case you all didn't know, she does her own professional artwork and makes money at it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, that's right. Don't you forget it. So that looks more realistic, I think. It's up to you to determine that on your own, but yeah, get the wax to kind of look realistic as you want it to. And then we have to do a wick. We have a wick on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new cylinder for my wick. I'm just going to make a new wick. I don't want to use the same wick over and over again. Not that people are going to be paying that much attention to my wicks, but if I were to do this as a an actual portfolio piece, which I've seen, like there's a video that I came across. I didn't look at it, but I came across it the other day on the YouTube. It was like ZBrush to Maya to Substance Painter, and he sculpts a candle. Then I don't know what he does with it in Maya, but I'm assuming he textures it up in Substance Painter. So we can brought this down, and then we can change the radius. We have our wick in here. Get it to the center. It doesn't have to be exactly in the center, but I'm going to change the number of divisions on the height to like 4 or something like that. And then let's isolate it. Let's isolate. I want to change the height of this to 1, so it's more in there. I'm going to go to vertex here. I'm going to scale these wider. I'm going to rotate this over. I'm going to move it over. And take this right here, and I'm going to move it like out like that. And then maybe we'll go the other way, like that. Curve mode. Press 3, and then you have a different type of wick, completely on its own. This, of course, is the flame that I didn't want to use because it's not that there's anything wrong with it, other than technically it's not clean. So we don't use anything that's not clean if we can avoid it. I'm going to take these vertices and I'm going to stretch them over more. And then we can take this flame, and you don't want to use the same flame, right? Because people will notice. So that's how they are. People, they always notice. You ever notice that? How like there's stuff in movies, and then you always notice, like, how come there's a weird mistake right there? And then most likely the director was like, oh, I see there's a weird mistake. Don't worry, nobody will notice it. And then there you go. You got a weird mistake in your movie, and everybody notices it. So we're gonna do a little bit of organic modeling on this using the lattice tool. I'm gonna change all these numbers here to 7 by 7 by 7, and then I can go to lattice points and kind of fold these things to get this pushed in a little bit there. And we'll have to do that up here too. So you get more of this. Let's see. Grab this over here. That's good. Deselect those there. History. I'm going to take these vertices up here. I'm going to squish them down. Flame's not going to be as high on this candle. Take these here and we'll scale them out so that it flows. There's not a jagged edge there. Too much. Scale this one in. And move it down onto the width there. So there's 2 candles you have. Do you want me to keep going, or are you good? Do you think you understand?
I'm good. But are we doing any emission on the flame itself?
You don't have to know. No, I'm not doing any of that. You can do that stuff for the final if you want to. It's fine. But
All
for
right.
this, let's just do the model.
Got it.
Said at least 3, right?
Yeah, do 3. You can do more if you want to, but there's no need to. If you're like struggling to understand or comprehend, like I can't keep up with this. The pace is too fast. Don't worry about doing more than 3. Just control slide
And
down.
could we look up our own references
Yes.
or other
Somebody's been
friends?
paying attention. I can tell. John Ali, what are you doing? I said yeah.
Hey, just ask. He's reassuring.
Yeah. Yeah, you can use it. I just put this in here so you had something. I like this candle too. It's a pretty interesting little candle. I mean, there's nothing special about it, but it is like for a candle, for just a basic candle, that's a really interesting image of a candle. I think that's probably why they took the photo. But yeah, use a different candle if you want to. It's fine. I just want you to make candle. Don't use something crazy that's going to be completely different. I'm like, that's not a candle, or I don't recognize that as like just use like a standard straight candle, and then once you've modeled it up, make sure I recognize it.
Okay.
That's the important part. Is I should be able to recognize it as a candle. I can't if it's like, how come you? Because there's candles in all different shapes and sizes. I'm like, why is there a skull you have here? That's not a candle. I'm gonna be wondering why is that here? So if you have like Mason's wood thing candle that he was talking about, you'd be like, that's not a candle. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you doing here? So making actual straight candle. You look at medieval times and the different things that they burned. They would take like a board, like just like a 2x4, and they would stand it up in like a stand on the floor, and they would light it on fire, and it would burn over the course of a few days. That would provide some light for the interiors. So there was like all sorts of different kinds of stuff back in the olden days that they would use for candling, for lighting rooms. It was a difficult time because did you know that there are more trees, there's more forest in Europe today than there was in the Middle Ages?
No.
Yeah, so that's just because, I mean, they used wood for so much, right? That's how you made fire to cook. They didn't necessarily, I mean, you could get oil, right? You can burn it, but that was rare. That was the exception. That was not the rule. Like, if you want to burn something today, we have natural gas and oil all over the place. Right. So they had to, they had to find stuff to burn. There were laws about how much wood you were allowed to take out of the forest, etc. And, you know, it's important she followed those laws just for everybody, so everybody could get some wood. Put that down. So yeah, candles. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns, queries, wonderings, or complaints? No?
No, everything looks pretty straightforward.
Is that a boy bird or a girl bird? See, if you don't ask me questions, I'm gonna start asking you questions.